Welcome to my upgrade downgrade list. So this is kind of like a tier list in a way. I'm basically comparing units and I'm going to go over the roles they generally want to fill, and I'm going to recommend for or against these units depending on how optimal you want to be. Now some of these units are kind of hard to place, so we have always good units that kind of just exist in a vacuum in a way, where dancing is always good, Stall's always good. Vale is always good because she's a late game free unit with good stats. Hortensia is always a good staff bot. Alir can be good if you invest in them, but they can also be bad if you don't. But generally you're going to be investing in them, so I'm assuming you're investing in Alir. Chloe is always good. She has a bunch of builds that she's good on, and she can also do physical and magic role and support role, so she's very flexible. And then Fram is just one of the best support units in the game for free. The filler units, this doesn't mean they're bad, it just means that they can just fill random slots in your team. So Vander fills early game hard carry. Saphir, she's like a physical nuke that's average stats. Mavier the same. The three slow tanks are all just kind of like filler units that can still be decent. This doesn't mean they're bad because they're in filler. Jean, he can flex into different things, and Linden, he's kind of like an average speed mage. But really what we want to focus on are early game units or even middle game units and how they compare to other units trying to perform the same role. So I've kind of organized these so that the downgrades and the upgrades are next to each other, so that when you look at this you can see who's better just like visually. So to begin, let's talk about these two units. Alfred and Diamant. Both of them are kind of bruiser tanks that want to be kind of like fast in a way. So they're not exactly the slow tanks that just go for like huge defense and low speed. They have like average speed and like average defense and average strength, but they lack high speed, which means that they can't double very consistently without serious speed fixing. So I think they're basically straight downgrades to Tamara and Goldmary, both of which can tank much better, have better bases, and are much faster. Now in the case of Goldmary, she usually needs like a speed wing to double consistently, but her base speed is actually quite high, and she also has Brave Assist. And then on Tamara, she has quite high speed and usually just needs like speed +5 and she's fine. So these are just upgrades to this. The next we have the archers. So we have Alchrist and Edtier as downgrades, and then Fagato as an upgrade. So the idea here is Fagato is fast, he has high build, he also has good stats, and he has pretty good growth, so he's just going to run circles around both of these on archer roll. He can also use Radiant Bow better than both of these because he has higher base magic on his class, and he also has higher build than Etier, and I think he has slightly higher build than Alchrist. So he's basically just a straight upgrade to both. So if you want an archer, a dedicated archer, Fagato's your guy. Now that I think about it, you could argue Anna's a direct upgrade to both of these if you have her on Radiant Bow, but I'm going to be running her in a magic roll, so we'll get to that in a minute. Alright, so Amber. Amber isn't a bad unit, he does have high strength, but he is a downgrade to Panette. So if you were to run one or the other, Panette's definitely the way to go. She has higher base strength, she has better stats, her availability is still early enough that it's really good. You get her shortly after getting him, so it's not that much later. So you can't really go wrong with running her, she's quite good. And then for these mages, I'm going to put these here. Actually, I'm kind of debating on putting Anna in downgrade because she does require the upfront investment. But for now, we'll leave her here for now. I'll figure out where I want to put her. We have Saline and Citrine. Now, Citrine is definitely better than Saline, but if you were to run one of these or Ivy basically has the stats of, like, she has better stats than both of them. And at the same level, she has higher build than both of them, and other stats that are higher, like she has more bulk, and she's also on a unique flying class. So she's basically just better than both. And the only situation in which Citrine can compete, or Saline, is on Mage Knight, and even then, they're quite slow Mage Knights that need serious speed fixing. So if you had to run one of these or the other, I would run Ivy. Now, Anna, on the other hand, actually I will put Anna as an upgrade to, I feel like if you run her on Mage Knight, if you just have her use Micaiah for 2 chapters, which really isn't that big of an investment, this is just one of many ways to get her to level 10 quickly. You run her on Micaiah, you have her heal, and then use Great Sack, and she'll hit level 10 pretty quickly. Once she's on Mage Knight, she will eventually, like, she'll be kind of similar to Citrine starting out, but as you enter mid and end game, she makes you money and she's much faster. So there's basically a huge advantage. Now, it's not that much of an upgrade. It's still pretty similar, and the rocky start of being a staff bot, if you consider that a rocky start, could be an argument to put her in downgrade. But I do think the fact that she generates money helps with welling. It helps with donations. It helps with weapon upgrades. So it's definitely worthwhile. And long term, she can make you like 20 to 30k even if she's not getting a ton of kills. So it's pretty good investment. Also, Pandreo is definitely a huge upgrade over both of these. He has high build and high speed. His magic is pretty respectable as well, so he can deal good damage, but he can weightlessly wield Bolganone and Levin Sword. He can actually double consistently on Sage with minimal speed fixing, and he can double very consistently on Mage Knight. He's one of the best Mage Knights in the game. He's just insanely fast and has high build, so the Levin Sword doesn't slow him down, or Bolganone doesn't slow him down. He can double very consistently. You should be here. Alright, so of these two, Lapis is a downgrade to Kagetsu. He's just better than her statistically. She can get on Wyvern earlier than him, which is kind of neat. But outside of that, he can get on Wyvern after Chapter 13 if that's an issue. He's still good off of Wyvern. He doesn't need to be on Wyvern. For these units, not sure. We'll figure out where these go. Marin, she's also an upgrade to like Lapis. Oh yeah, I think these go with this. Yeah. So like Boucheron, like Clan, like these three are downgrades to these two. You could move Chloe down here if you want, just to like have a, like she's definitely better than Lapis. So if you wanted to have a clearer picture of what's going on, but she can stay up there, I guess, doesn't matter. So these three are basically just worse than these two as physical carries. Fast physical carries. These are the better fast physical carries, for sure. And then for Rosado, I would say it's fair to put Rosado, like he's basically worse than these. And Chloe as well. He's just worse than those. And then for the Thieves, I'm not really sure which thief is better. It seems that Yunaka's better because of her higher res if you want to use them as thieves. And she's also faster, so I guess I'll put her up here, and I'll put him down here. He does have better bases though, but long term she has better potential because she's faster. But he has higher build. But if you use her on Steel Dagger, it doesn't matter. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a wash, but here, let's get rid of weight here. You could argue that either one of them switches places, but these are definitely better than these. Like, it's not even close. These units here in the upgrade section, these are like metagame units, aside from Anna, which people like to argue against Anna and Tamara. I don't know why Gold Mary gets a pass, but then people give Tamara a hard time. That doesn't make sense to me, because I always find that she can pop off with like minimal investment. But same thing with Anna. Anna on Mage Knight is about as good as Pandreo. She's just maybe slightly slower because he has higher build, but it depends. It depends on if she gets build or not. If you're on random or if you level her up a ton. She's at 5% growth, so she'll get a point of build every 20 level ups. But these are the better units versus these. So if you had to pick one or the other, for tanks, for bruisers, these are the better bruisers. For archer, this is the best archer of these. For physical, hard-hitting, single damage units, she's better than Amber. For magical, medium speed, magical carry, Ivy is better than these. For fast magical units, these two are better than these two. These two are much faster than these two. It's not even close. Anna's very fast. She starts off on a weird class, but once you second seal her on the Mage Knight, she starts becoming a speed demon. But she is going to be like a few points of speed on Citrine, so if you want to compare those directly. If you don't want to run Anna, then just run Pandreo. These two are the best magical units in the game. She's also one of the best magical units in the game, and one of the best physical units in the game when built correctly. And then these two physical carries are better than all of these, including Clan. Clan is basically like Anna, but you have to get him onto physical, so you have to second seal him. Now, he can be decent on physical, but he's definitely worse than Kagetsu and Marin. It's not even close. And then of the Thieves, I would say Yunaka is slightly better than Zelkov because she has higher res and higher speed. I think she has better growth. So let's see, let's confirm that. Zelkov speed 35%, Yunaka, I think it's 45. Yeah, 45. So she is faster than him by 10%, which is 1 point per 10 level ups, which in the grand scheme of things does matter. He does have good bases though. So let's go over his bases really quick. You could actually, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put them into filler. Let's do that. I'll put them into filler. Like filler is just like units that you can run them if you want to. They're not really in competition with too many other things. Like these physical tanks aren't really competing with the Bruisers because the Bruisers double in one round usually, or at least try to, and the physical tanks can one-shot with the right build. So they're kind of like their own thing. Same thing with like Jean, like he's kind of his own thing because he'd be competing with all these different things based on what class you put him in. You could argue Linden is an upgrade for like the mages. Like he's like an upgrade to like these because he is quite fast. So you could argue he's an upgrade to the mages. And if you want to upgrade Anna's filler, that's fine. So I think this is more objective in terms of like no startup costs and just like getting them online, whereas these are going to be slower than these because she is the same speed as Citrine but has more build. So she can just wield Bolganone and Levin Sword. She also has higher defense and she can fly. So and Citrine has to level up to her level, and even then they have like pretty similar magic and speed. But Ivy always has more build, so if they're wielding the same weapons, if they're both on Bolg or Levin Sword, she's always gonna be faster. But yeah, that's it for this one. I just wanted to go over, you know, who's better than who and why. And I would say these units are definitely much better than these. Now, of these units, which are still good, I think Amber's still really good here. I think Citrine has potential to some degree. Lapis has some potential. Like, I don't think these are all like low tier units necessarily, but I think these are just better than these at their job. And then these units, we could, for the sake of argument, we could move Chloe here. She's better than these physicals and these magical units. She's really good on Levin Sword on Griffin Knight or Mage Knight, and she's also good on Lances on Wyvern with Lance Power because she's quite fast. So, and then for utility units, I would say that Fram's better than John as a utility unit, but he has to be compared to a bunch of different units, which gets kind of tricky. But that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. I am going to be making more videos on Engage soon, so look out for those, and I'll see you in the next one.